The truth is out there, and we can't wait to hear from you, the Harvard scientist who believes aliens could be watching us right now via a Manhattan-sized interstellar object. We are joined now by astrophysicist. And doctor, please say your name for me because I hate saying people's names incorrectly.
Avi Loeb.
Avi Loeb, astrophysicist Avi Loeb. Thank you so much for joining us. So
Thanks for
I'm
having me.
so excited to talk to you about this.
It's a great pleasure.
So first, NASA discovered on July 1st of this year a comet speeding through the solar system, which is cool all by itself. And for those that don't know, kind of explain what this all means.
Right. So this is the third object that we discovered over the past 80 years that came from outside the solar system. And this one appears to be relatively bright, meaning that if it was a rock, it had to be of 20 kilometers in diameter, bigger than Manhattan Island, and twice as large as the rock that killed the dinosaurs. So that by itself doesn't make much sense. There is not enough material in interstellar space to produce such a giant rock every few years. That's the period of time where we conducted the survey with the Atlas telescope. And so it's quite possible that the object itself is much smaller, less than a kilometer in size. And what we are seeing is the reflection of sunlight from a cloud of dust around it. That's in case it's a comet that is losing mass, that is getting evaporated by the sun hitting it. But we don't know that for sure because we haven't detected any fingerprints of gas around it. When it will come closer to us in the coming months, we might actually get a much better look. And at that point, it will be heated more by the sun, and therefore we might see it erupting like a comet. But as of now, we are not absolutely sure what it is. And it looks like it follows a trajectory, which is very special. It's aligned with the plane in which the Earth is moving around the sun. That's called the ecliptic plane that all the planets are moving in relative to the sun. It's within 5 degrees of that. And the chance of that happening is only 0.2%, a small probability. And it will also arrive to the closest to the sun on October 29th, when the Earth would be on the opposite side. So we won't be able to observe it. And moreover, it passes very close to the inner planets like Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, with a very small likelihood of doing that. And it also comes from the direction of the center of the Milky Way, which is very crowded. So all of these indications imply that, maybe this trajectory is extremely unusual. And could it be that it was designed? That's a possibility that we have to contemplate. If it doesn't continue along its path after October 29th, it's possible that the stock market will crash.
Now, we like the unusualness of it all. And actually, in one of your papers, you suggest that the object may be an alien craft observing Earth, which always gets a lot of eyeballs, always gets a lot of attention. Now, tell us, how did you reach that theory?
Well, I think that science is a great privilege to ask questions and then answer them with evidence. And we should put all possibilities on the table, that it's a rock, a comet, or something else, until we get the evidence, the data that will tell us what it is. And we are in a new era now. There is a Rubin Observatory in Chile that has a big telescope, 8.4 meters in diameter, that will survey the southern sky every 4 nights with a 3.2 gigapixel camera, and will discover interstellar objects every few months. And my point is, we should check if all of them are natural, because we sent spacecraft out of the solar system. Voyager 1, Voyager 2, Pioneer 10, Pioneer 11, and New Horizons are making their way out of the solar system, and they will exit from the outskirts of the Oort cloud in about 10,000 years. At that point, they will be just space trash. But other civilizations that are far more advanced than us may have sent functional devices that we may discover as coming from interstellar space. So we should assess any risks to our security. We are worried about existential threats from artificial intelligence, from global climate change, from an asteroid impact. But we don't think very often about alien tech as a threat. And I do believe that we should take it seriously now that we are identifying interstellar objects.
Now, I do think that it's so important that you mentioned that, you know what, we should put every option out there on the table, even though naturally a lot of people will be drawn to the fact that it could be an alien because that's probably one of the most exciting and cool and unusual options for people. But I do want to ask, so since it could be aliens, right? Because that's one of the options out on the table. There will be some who wonder if the aliens could have hostile intentions, or if their intentions could just be more benign. They could be as curious about us as we are about them. What are your feelings about those?
I think that when we have a blind date from a visitor from another star, all bets are off. We shouldn't assume anything. And we should assess the risk given the data that we have. It's just like the Richter scale for assessing the risk from earthquakes. 0 would be a natural object like a comet. 10 would be an object that maneuvers as if it has an engine that is definitely technological. And then there should be some policy makers deciding how to respond to that. And finally, there should be psychologists deciding how to communicate the message to the public without creating panic. The one interesting thing is that this object that is called the Three-Eye Atlas will actually pass very close to Jupiter. So today I wrote a new paper suggesting that we use the spacecraft Juno, which is orbiting Jupiter. It has been launched in 2011, and it was supposed to end its life in September this year, 2025. It was supposed to crash into the atmosphere of Jupiter and die there. And we are suggesting in the paper that instead we can fire the engines and give it a little nudge so that it will intercept Three-Eye Atlas in March 2026. And that would be a remarkable spectacle. It will also allow us to probe the nature of Three-Eye Atlas.
Now, I do want to go back to one point that you mentioned earlier, that the object will come closest to the sun on October 29th, when it'll be completely blocked from Earth's view. Was this possibly done on purpose, maybe?
Well, that's the question, and I got a text message from a fan that said that he is trading options against the volatility of the stock market with an expiration date of the 29th of October, hoping to make some money out of this. I'm not sure if I would have put my money on it, but we should definitely monitor what happens after that date. And I suggest if you have plans for an annual vacation, take it before that day.
This is all good. Look at you looking out for it, looking out for our viewers. Um, what do you say to naysayers in terms of the claims about aliens, right? Because this is not the first time. You've written articles about aliens before this, but there are always some people out there who are like, there are no aliens, please. What do you say to the naysayers?
Well, we see a lot of houses on the cosmic street that look just like ours, analogs of the Earth-Sun system. And I think it's very arrogant of us to assume that they don't have residents. There are no residents in these houses. I don't think of us as very special or unique. I think that many things like us existed for billions of years around other stars. And the sun formed only in the last 1/3 of cosmic history. So we are relatively late to the party. And it would take, for example, the Voyager spacecraft only 1 billion years to move to the opposite side of the Milky Way galaxy. So there was plenty of time for their space probes to reach us by now. We should just check our backyard. You know, most of the time we might see comets or asteroids, rocks. But every now and then there might be a tennis ball that was thrown by a neighbor.
You've definitely given us some things to think about. Is there anything you want to mention that I did not ask you specifically?
I think science can be fun. We should not pretend to be the adults in the room. And science is about asking questions and then letting the evidence answer them.
I concur. Science is definitely fun. And this conversation is an example for viewers of all ages just how fun science can be. Astrophysicist Dr. Loeb, we thank you so much for taking time for us. And we hope we get to talk to you about this a little more in the future.
Thanks for having me. I will be delighted.
Thank you so much.